Welcome back, everyone. What a fabulous track, and look at all of you here in the middle of the afternoon. Fantastic. So we're continuing with the track on KM Culture and People. My name's Rebecca Jones, and we are delighted to have you here today. We have two speakers for our, so were you just here for the last panel, which was focusing on collaboration? Okay. Continuing on with that, we're now looking at collaboration specifically in the areas of learning, training, and knowledge maps. And I am delighted that we have two speakers for this session. We are going to start with Hashim Alsaeedi, who is from Saudi Aramco. Did I do it right?
Yep.
Oh, thank God. I think it's so important that we pronounce each other's names properly. And he's going to be joined halfway through by Aileen Marshall. Aileen is with the DHS program, which actually stands for Demographic and Health Surveys Program, implemented by ICF, a strategic consultancy. And so they're going to be talking about knowledge maps, learning and training. And please welcome Hashim.
Does it work? It
does work.
I'm not sure.
Is it working? Yeah.
It doesn't show the slide is not on half of it.
It's not, is it?
I don't know if it goes.
Hold on.
So it's for
This
that,
one?
guys.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. My name is
Yeah, stay on this.
Hashim.
I want you to stay on this side because
Okay.
they're filming you.
Okay.
And if you walk in front of that, it's a big
Sure.
wall.
Okay, good afternoon again. My name is Hashim Alsaeedi from Saudi Aramco. I will be going through some insights from our journey of knowledge management. I'm trying to make it a bit generic for some regulatory reasons and some formalities in the company, but for sure if you have any more specific questions and discussions, we are here to catch up, okay? So in that, we'll be talking about context that we live in the company, KM maturity assessment, and then we will talk about the role-based knowledge map and how that is expected to help us in introducing or enhancing knowledge management. The context we are talking about is we are a knowledge economy. All organizations, if they want to improve, if they want to enhance their position in the market, achieve sustainable operation, whether they want to advance current knowledge or to go to new markets, learning and acquiring new existing knowledge, or to have innovation, creating new knowledge, or finally responding to changing a flexible economy, adaptive application of knowledge. All of that is around knowledge, right? So that's why knowledge management is very important for us, and we started to achieve our maturity assessment in Saudi Aramco. However, we have several challenges that may be applied to everybody, a lot of oil and gas sector, some big companies, or specifically to us. We have 50% of Y generation and rising up of our employees. By 2020, maybe around 75% of Y generation, and that's a lot of people requiring more knowledge. Limited availability and accessibility of knowledge resources, unsupportive knowledge culture and environment, and finally, scattered knowledge resources. We have a lot of scattered knowledge resources in the company, in different business lines, different organizations, different teams, and everybody is looking for what we know, and that's the hard thing to achieve. And these are just some very simple examples of how the need for knowledge management and centralized resource of knowledge is very important for our employees. And this is from Twitter. Just people from Twitter are looking for some knowledge about their work and the organization. They are asking on some Twitter account of those people around them, and in Arabic, but it's translated by Google Translation. So, and what are the things that you need to learn who is specialized in planners? So if I'm a planner, what are the things that I need to learn? Another guy is posting again, and Coincidentally, these are just in the same day. And look at if we are looking at 1 month or 2 months or 1 year. And another guy is looking, what are the things that I need to learn if I'm HR assistant? And those functions or roles of HR assistant, planners, electrical engineer, mechanical engineer, knowledge management professional are very keywords for our role-based knowledge map that we are thinking of. And based on that, we went through KM maturity assessment, which is, a lot of you may have seen this. It's based on the APQC KM competency, and it went through the 4 pillars of strategy, people, resources, content, and IT. And the good thing is that is every enabler and every pillar, there are specific functions or specific capabilities that you may need to check your organization against. And we've done that for the whole organization. We went through checking the business case, budget, resources, change management, communication, knowledge management approaches, and so on. On top of that, we tried to go to specific focus groups, several focus groups with different employees, to try learn from them about what their needs are. Because if you are to design any knowledge management program or any knowledge management function, it's not just about what we think that will help them, but it's about setting the maturity assessment of the organization and then design what they need for that. And other than this, we used a survey of more than 2,000 employees and the organization to learn about their needs. Based on that, I'm not showing our score here on Aramco. Based on that, you will get the assessment result of the different levels. Are you at level 1 maturity or at level 5 maturity? And you will get your organization score compared to the all participants and the model. So you can see that, for example, all participants are doing very good in knowledge flow process or strategy and budget. And through that, we have identified several competencies or capabilities that we need to work on compared to the other organizations and the model. Now, this is one of the things that we learned through our maturity assessment. And you may have that in many of the organizations. There is a KM started model. What do you mean by that? That there are different knowledge providers or knowledge management providers around the organization. You know, so Aramco or some of the other companies are very big companies. And there are a lot of pockets of excellence here and there, scattered knowledge providers. They are working with knowledge management at any means or at any aspect. Maybe at knowledge sharing, maybe they are working on knowledge capture, maybe they are consultancy, a group to solve some innovative problems, and so on. But the thing is that we have different knowledge providers, and every knowledge provider has their own knowledge assets, whether they are coming to practice, documents, and so on. And then we have those knowledge providers connected to organizations by metadata, by other keywords, connected to disciplines, and connected to keywords, some keywords. And all of that is a flat connection. So whenever there is a user who is looking for some knowledge, they need to go for specific knowledge providers, knowledge asset providers, and look for the required knowledge. So they will look for knowledge in KM provider 1, maybe not in 1, again they will go to 2, maybe not in 2, maybe they go to 3, and so on. And then they will find the result, which is a broad result based on organization, and keywords, and discipline. And this is, we call it the scattered model. Our knowledge is there, everybody admits the need for knowledge management, and they are trying to do their own thing, but it's very scattered. What we are trying to do, and this is the concerns with that, it's a very passive model, scattered knowledge assets, very broad, diverse results. You are looking for one document or two about knowledge management in HR, and the search engine will bring you some document about petroleum engineering where management word is there, knowledge is there, and you get that broad result and you need to figure out. Lack of awareness and training was very clear. Lack of knowledge consultation. There is no real consultation of people how to create their knowledge and how to classify it and so on. And then low localization and value added. So the role-based knowledge map that we are trying to work on is to build the role job infrastructure. Job titles sometimes are very broad, are too broad to define our functions in the organization, or not descriptive of roles responsibilities. We have a lot of job titles, but we are not utilizing them in our knowledge management framework or platform because the job titles sometimes are too broad to define what we are doing. Different roles overlap a shared knowledge. Now we have different, for example, gas plants in the southern area, and again, different gas plants in the northern area, and they are doing the same thing, the same expansion, the same maintain potential projects, but they are not able to define those shared knowledge in these scattered KM providers. Same functional roles in different organizations. Again, the same organization, we are having the same job title, but we are working on different things. We are not really descriptive of what we are doing. So what we are trying to build is to build that taxonomy to define the roles. And then we propose that joint model. And instead of this, which is the scattered role or the scattered model, we try to go through, okay, let's have a layer of organization, then a layer of roles, then a layer of functions. And we connect those together based on their functionalities and required knowledge. And then those will be in the knowledge management scattered resources. And instead of the employee looking for knowledge, and this is how we are trying to enhance training and learning, is that we are bringing the required knowledge to you instead of you looking for knowledge from the scattered knowledge providers. So what we are trying to do is that the employee himself will go into a centralized KM portal, and the KM portal is bringing all of that based on their role, and then they will get a very specific knowledge about exactly what their role are. And this is a more explanation of that role-based knowledge map. We have different roles working in the organization. We define those roles based on community practice. So we defined the roles. Okay, those roles need to be under that community practice. The other roles need to be under community practice too. And building that community practice architecture, we link the functions to every role. So every role will know exactly what they are doing. So that's sort of job description of their role. It's just from the portal itself, you can understand your job description, your community practice, and the required knowledge. And then the knowledge management assets come into practice, may it be documents, may it be expertise location, may it be wiki pages, all of them are connected around the functions. So you will have your SMEs, knowledge capture, developmental courses, training plans, videos, wiki pages connected around your functions. So that the role-based knowledge map will bring the knowledge assets required to you based on your role. It's pushed to you rather than you pull it. And here is a sample of what we are trying to do. Now this is a portal for any employee. And the moment they are accessing that portal, your role will be defined here. So your role, for example, as knowledge transfer advisor. This is your role. It may not be the same as your job title. And this is the issue, the concern that we have, that we need those to be resolved because the job title sometimes is not reflective of what we are doing. And then all of the others are knowledge assets brought to you based on your role. So you have a section for collaborate, which is community practice posts brought to you both based on your role. You don't need to go to those community practice. Any new post within your community practice that you are in will come to you here. And of course, you can still explore other communities. My Academy, and this is where training and learning came. So all of the courses, training plans, training items, developmental courses that's needed for your role will be brought to you here. You can access them, you can register on them, and then attend those training courses. Video library, we have a video library in Aramco called Shahid, for example. Shahid means watch in Arabic. And that video library, again, is connected as one of the knowledge management provider. Scattered resource is connected to the KM portal. Expertise finder, so you can look at your experts defined by your role. So if you are a knowledge management professional, for example, as your role, you have defined experts so that you can connect to. Knowledge base, which is the documents, lessons learned, and others. Wiki pages, and even events and collaborative events are going around the company. On top of that, we are trying to build a gamification approach to help people and push people to use or to emphasize on using the KM portal. So that's a vision of how the role-based knowledge map could be able to bring the knowledge to the people based on their role. But this is not the end. And this is where we have a big need, according to our assessment, that we are missing the change management and preparation or training and consultation. So when we looked at the assessment, we have a lot of systems. We have eWay, we have Sharik, we have blah, blah. We have 4 or 5 systems. But at the end, it's a system there, but knowledge management is not just a system-based profession. It's more of people, awareness, and bringing people to change. And this is what we are trying to build as a full consultation process out of our assessment. We have a consultation process that will develop the role-based knowledge map, will build the community of practice architecture, develop the SME profile development, knowledge capture gaps to be defined, so that based on that we have or build design new programs, and then culture readiness and communication. And this is a very important factor to bring people to work on this. Out of that, we define taxonomy, community of practice, expertise location, knowledge captures, and then we build KM certification and training to enable people to use and utilize the knowledge management process and knowledge management systems. After that, we integrate our existing systems so that we are still standalone systems, but serving same shared goal. And at the end, to produce our final role-based model, enabling our employees to get to their knowledge, push to them based on their role instead of them looking for knowledge in the scattered KM platform. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Hashim. I hesitate to have questions for you right now because I want to make sure that Aileen gets to do her presentation. And so we'll entertain questions for both speakers at the end.
Sure.
Is that all right?
Thank you.
Please join us up here, Hashim.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now I want to introduce Aileen. As I said to you, she's the knowledge management producer and coordinator for the DHS survey through ICF. And I just have to put her up here.
I think men have it so much easier with this. They can just stuff these things in their pockets. Or maybe I just chose the wrong dress. Potentially. Can you hear me okay, though? Is it okay? All right. No, that's the right one.
I know it is, but I'm just afraid it's going to do exactly what Hashim's just did. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, I'm going to stay up here.
Should I click?
See if it works.
Okay, so after the lunch, I know when I'm sitting in sessions that are right after lunch, I'm kind of like, another PowerPoint presentation, right? So I'm trying to keep mine short. So today I want to talk to you about using adult learning principles to enhance knowledge management programs and activities. Clicky? It's not your pretty sure it's your fault. Okay, so as Rebecca mentioned, I'm the knowledge management / monitoring and evaluation specialist at the DHS program. Let me know if anybody has a longer title than me because mine doesn't fit in one row of a business card. And the DHS program is the Demographic and Health Surveys program. It's not the Department of Homeland Security. Sorry, guys. We had it. Our program is in the 36th year right now. We had it for that long. I haven't been there that long. And so we have, should I try this again later? Okay. So, yay, okay. And so since 1984, we have provided technical assistance to over 300 population and household-based surveys in over 90 developing countries. And we're providing information based on those surveys to advance global understanding of health and population trends in those countries. We are mainly funded by USAID with other partners. So the surveys are also funded by other donors like the World Bank and UNICEF, UNFPA, UNAIDS. And also by the country governments themselves. So the project is implemented by ICS, doesn't stand for anything. And we have 6 partners that we work with on this. So a little bit about me, I've been there for 4 years. I was hired as the very first knowledge management specialist because after 35 years, well, 32 at that point, the DHS management realized that they have way too much knowledge all in their heads. And that was pretty much it. So I got to make up this role, and I'm experimenting with other things that are not maybe strictly KM, but that are closely related and will help us, such as change management. I'm leading a community of interest within ICF about change management, and we have about 5,000 employees. Not all of them are participating, but so recently, I've worked with our senior capacity strengthening advisor. I was able to go with her on 2 trips and observe how she does adult learning. And she taught about adult principles, learning principles. And I realized, oh my God, I can make my stuff so much better if I adhere to some very simple things. But so let me get you started. What drives adults to learn? What drives you to learn? What do you need fulfilled in your life to be able, you know what? Yeah, I have the mindset to learn. So take a moment and think, time. Yes, time would be a very important factor. What else do you think? What do you need to have in your life already at that moment that enables you to even think about learning something new? Curiosity, okay. Go even more basic. Motivation, even more basic. The need to learn? Yeah, goals, yeah. Even more basic. So at the this is what calls Maslow's pyramid, right? This is the hierarchy of needs. At your very basic level, you have your basic needs. You cannot be hungry. If you're like my friend and she gets hangry, yeah, she's not gonna learn anything. Warmth, unless you're a really cool person, but okay, rest. Bodily needs, believe it or not, is a very, very basic need that if your thoughts are kind of, stuck on that Starbucks croissant, you are not completely focused on learning, right? This also goes for things like, have a comfortable room? Are you comfortable in general? So the first 2 are basic needs. Security, safety. Are you feeling safe in this room right now? Are you worried that something's gonna happen or not? Because if you are, yeah, you're probably not going to retain a lot. And so then you have the second, the third and the fourth. You have your belongingness and love needs, your psychological needs, prestige and feeling of accomplishment, all those things that make you feel mostly, good at work and in your life. And then you have your self-actualization needs, achieving one's full potential, including creative activity. So if you're feeling that and all your needs are met, then you are more likely to engage in some sort of learning activity. So with that being said, sure? Okay. So I learn by when? Okay, I want you to take 30 seconds or so and think about how do you learn and when do you learn best? And just tell me what comes to mind. There's no right or wrong in this, as with a lot of other things. So how do you learn best? By doing, yes. What else? Huh? By Yeah, that's probably the best way of learning. That's so true. Yes. What else did I hear? Yes, you have to have a reason to be doing it. Exactly. How else? How do you learn best?
One-on-one?
Sure. Yes, that would be the best way of learning. That's right. So one-on-one, but how? What does the teacher have to do for you to retain things, to be interested in what he or she's trying to teach you?
Show relevance and connection.
Okay, yeah. Anything else? Yes, yes. Yes. And so all of what you described are basically, you have your learning cycle. You see something, you kind of try it out, you reflect on it, and then you take it a step further and implement it in what you're doing, what you're trying to do. But then you also have a predominant learning style. And according to, and I totally forgot his name, Kolb, there are 4 learning styles. And there are a lot of other theories out there, but this is the one that we're using at work, so that's why I'm going with this. And so there are 4 learning styles. And all of these styles predominantly learn differently. You have the people who like to listen to things, internalize, and see, hey, what can I get out of this, And then you have the people who love looking at PowerPoint presentations. You have people who like to participate and to kind of, shout out things and to, and then to try things. I don't know about you, but I just got a new phone, and do I look at the manual? Hell no. I'm like, hey, let me see what this can do, right? So what does this red button do? I've always wanted to push a big red button. Haven't gotten there yet, but I will one of these days. So this is not a joke. My dad was a printer. They had these huge printing machines, right? And there was this big red button right there for emergency stop. Never pressed it, but always wanted to. So look at this. So you have a couple different learning styles. Now you may have a predominant one. And at the end of the presentation, there are 2 resources of the many where you can kind of try to figure out what is your learning style, right? And then you can try to understand why you fall asleep when there's a PowerPoint presentation, or why you are really uncomfortable if you have a group session, because some people love doing these things, whereas others are like, no, I'm just going to listen to what these guys say because I want to internalize what is happening. So why is this important for us as knowledge management professionals? Well, as knowledge management professionals, we are effectively teachers, right, in everything we do. And I think it's only fair if we not only demand from our trainees that they pay attention and they slept enough and they've gone to the bathroom before we kind of start the training, but also we have to figure out what can we do in order to make adults want to learn. And I don't remember who said it, but a lot of you guys said you have to have a motivation, right? You have to have a reason, and that's exactly how adults learn. Adults learn different from children. Children, you put in school, you talk all day, although I'm pretty sure today it's a little bit different. But for adults, you need to have a reason to learn. You have to have a real-life project that you can apply what you've learned. And we are, to a certain extent, we are so self-sufficient that we don't want to just listen to a person. We want to participate in our own way. And so if you do a one-on-one training, like the gentleman over there prefers, it's a little bit easier if you know what makes that person tick. If I have a person who is perfectly happy if I just keep talking, then that works. So you have to know what that person, what that person's learning style is. Now, if you have a group, that's a bit more difficult. And so you have to make sure that whatever you're training, whatever activity you're trying to do, that you are catering to the 4 predominant learning styles. So everybody is engaged one point or another. And so how many minutes do I have?
You're fine.
I'm fine?
10.
I got 10? Oh my God. Okay, I should have brought more slides. So now, do I have another slide? Probably not. Okay, no, that's the previous one. Okay, so now after all this talk, and again, this was a lot of, I tried to incorporate some of this stuff into this presentation, right? I made you talk a little bit. I have some presentations. But now I also want to give you some examples from my work and how incorporating those techniques and principles actually helped me get a better success story. So I'm responsible for developing our SharePoint site collection at work. And when I started, I had to train my coworkers on how to use SharePoint, which was like, I don't know, making fire out of stones from using a lighter, basically. They all know this. I've said this many times, so this is not a secret. But you can imagine, you sit 30 people in front of a computer and say, hey, look, here's SharePoint. You've been using file shares, haha. And now we're going to do all of this with like metadata and document management and retention policies and versioning control and like I saw but I didn't realize it, right? And what I did for an hour was literally show them the pages and say, and then you click here and you click here and you do this, 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 and this. What do you think how well that went? Yeah. So didn't go so well. Now I got a second chance because we migrated last year, November, to the cloud, SharePoint Online. And so whereas a lot of things stay the same, there's a lot of differences in how things look. The libraries look different, blah, blah. So I got a second chance with the training. And so what I did this time is I tried to get smaller groups, which helps me a lot because I kind of can put people together that are the same technology level, which does help a lot. But then I tried to switch it up. I had a little bit of, I didn't have any slides. What I did was a live demo. Here's the new site, and here's what you do. And then I had people sit there and literally click their way through. I showed them later, where you can find more information. I had them ask questions, but I let the ones who are who wanted to internalize, whatever. I let them sit there and play with it, and then I asked them questions later, and that went a lot better. Another example that I have is onboarding. So I was tasked with coming up with like a streamlined onboarding process and giving new hires information about DHS. And so we have the official onboarding, which is from ICF, and then we have our onboarding, which brings people up to speed. And so generally there's like, okay, here's like, you have every team give a PowerPoint presentation about what the team is doing. Yeah, no. So what I try to do is, with the help of a lot of my colleagues, is we did schedule meetings with the teams, the separate teams within my project and the new hire, but we specified your presentation can only be 10 minutes out of 30 minutes, and the rest is discussion. 10, 15 minutes because there's a lot of information that is easier to show when it's a prepared PowerPoint. But then you discuss, you can show other resources. So that's one part. The second part is I have how many of you use OneNote notebooks? Awesome. It's like one of my favorite tools, literally is. I have nothing on my computer physically, all my notes are in OneNote. It's amazing. But I developed a OneNote onboarding notebook for the new staff, for the people who are their buddies, and the supervisor and the administrative assistant, program assistants that help them. And that's an interactive experience because they can click through. I made a lot of links, and they can click through, they can read at their own pace, and they can interact with stuff that is in there. So I had that component. Then I made a scavenger hunt that basically has a lot of information about that they need to find out about the different teams. And so they actually have to go around and talk to people, which for some is easier, for others is not, but they can take as much time as they want within 2 months or so, and then they can do that at their own pace. So I really tried to make that onboarding experience as fun and as useful as possible, and we tried to focus on why do I need to know this? A new person coming to a company has a lot of needs, and what I told the teams to please make sure in their presentations is that whatever you put on there, make sure it answers the following questions. How is this relevant for the person who just started? And how do the team fit into the overall project? Those two things. Anything else is up to them, but those I wanted covered. And then lastly, things like FAQs or help wikis or something like that. So in the beginning, everybody was like, oh my God, we need to write everything down. I'm like, yeah, and who's going to read that? So you have a lot of documents. You take minutes from meetings. You have FAQs written down step by step. And I'm like, nobody's going to read that. People don't want that. I myself, I will read it, but that's not my preferred way. Some people like it. Some people don't. But I also made little videos. with Camtasia, I just went to the site and say, here's a 2.5-minute video, how you retrieve a version from a Word document. I did this. I brought people up to speed at my work that I can say, okay, you have a question about a very specific topic, go talk to that person. So I had that, that in-person experience. And then I also have like a little help button where people can submit their questions to me with a disclaimer. It's like, okay, have you tried XYZ first? But so I'm trying to give people a lot of different options on how to interact with FAQs, with help, with documentation, right? And I try to really incorporate that in everything that I do. We have so-called after-action reviews board from the military, of course, but adapted for our own purposes after a survey has been completed. And by that, I mean after the data has been collected. We get together, the survey team, and basically talks about, hey, what went really well, what didn't go so well, and what did not go well at all, and what can we learn from it, right? But again, you have this weird dynamic of people being really vocal. I have one coworker who, oh my Lord, just have to sit her down. She's like, and I want to tell you about, the survey like 10 years ago, and this is exactly, she has everything in her head, and she loves to talk. And then you have others, like our sampling specialists, who are very introverted. They will not say anything. And so, I give them the option to say, okay, draw a diagram of what you think happened. Do something, interact, walk around the room. I have little toys, like squishy balls and stuff like that people can play with, because believe me, adults love that stuff. One thing do never get, it's like this expanding plastic thing that you can just put yeah. No. We had one person, I don't know if she was nervous or just happy to play with it, but she goes like, during her entire presentation, we're like, yeah, okay, not the best choice. So, learning experience. So that's, that was the message I wanted to get across. Take a step back, and no matter what activities, what training you develop, try to keep in mind, not everybody's a PowerPoint person. Not everybody wants to hear the speaker talk the entire time. But give people a chance to learn at their own pace and give them a reason to learn. And of course, give them all the prerequisites that you are able to provide. A warm room. It's a bit cold in here, isn't it, by the way? Okay. Some water outlets for your cell phone, because we get really nervous if our cell phone has only 5% battery left at the end of a session. At least I do. So it's true. So try it out. There's a lot of stuff online. And these two are two that I found that I really like. So try to read up on them, try to figure out, hey, what learning style am I? And try to deviate from that the next time you develop training, because we tend to develop training according to what we want to see and not what the others might need. And then lastly, I want to thank all my colleagues at DHS for being my guinea pigs, because as I say, sometimes I just make things up as I go along. And they are all really helpful, and they give me feedback. And then a special thanks to the Senior Capacity Strengthening Advisor, Abibata, who unfortunately left 2 weeks ago. But she basically told me about this and taught me about this. And I really believe that if we pay a little bit of attention, we can greatly enhance the success of our KM activities and programs. Thank you.